and to do the next panel discussion that is on the topic CIOs as architect of employee experience, bridging technology and workforce transformation. For this, I would like to invite our moderator for the session, Mr. Shashank Shukla, Vice President, Professional Services, Darwinbox. Shashank is a strategic and result-driven business leader with deep expertise in HR transformation, cloud migration, and consulting business operations. As a trusted advisor to organizations undergoing large-scale HR and cloud transformation projects, he specializes in aligning people, processes, and technology to drive innovation and business agility. Along with him, his co-panelist, Mr. Sudhakar Jha, Group IT Head, Strategy and Architecture, Gujarat Fluorochemicals Limited, Mr. Syed Rahman, Head Solution Delivery and General Manager IT, DB Censure.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shashank. Thank you for the introduction, Mitali. I joined Darwinbox about 6 months ago. I'm based in Hyderabad, and before this, I was working with Oracle for last about 2 decades. I've recently relocated to India 2 months ago. Over the last about couple of years, we have been monitoring what Darwinbox is as an outsider, as a competitor to Darwinbox. And it used to shock us because suddenly there's a new player which has been beating Oracle for the last about 2 years in more than 50% of all the deals that we have been working on. So I thought maybe it's a good time to join them, understand what are they doing differently, and why are they winning all over Southeast Asia, Middle East, and now in the US markets as well. India was always our home ground. So in today's panel discussion, we want to talk about how the CIOs are the architects for the employee experience. Now, CIOs have typically a very broad agenda. The previous panelist, Mr. Das Gupta, very aptly put it, how important the role is, what are the key considerations for this role. Now, employee experience is the heart and soul of whatever they do. Because finally, whatever CIOs deliver, it is to serve what is the agenda of the enterprise, what are the enterprise needs in terms of IT, translating it to the IT requirements, and then delivering to it. But the success of most of those initiatives is determined by how the employees adopt it. And in today's session, we will try to explore some of the key questions on how CIOs can take charge of employee experience to ensure that the initiatives are successfully adopted by the employees. Now, some of these initiatives could be related to the HR application itself, in which case you may rely on, let's say, a vendor like Darwinbox who will be able to serve most of the requirements. But then the requirements go beyond the HR application as well. And that is where the same principles apply, and that's what we're going to explore today. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining in. So I would like to start with Mr. Sudhakar. How can CIOs strike a right balance between aligning enterprise IT strategy with the business goals and ensuring that employees have intuitive, user-friendly tools that help them to thrive?
That's a good question. I'm sure it's working. Thank you. So before I answer that, let me quickly introduce myself. So I'm part of Inox JFL Group. I take care of IT strategy, planning, and enterprise architecture here. So coming back to the question, so this is the very valid question which is coming, I think, in the mind of every CIOs. So I will try to answer that in the 4 steps. So first one, we generally say that IT has to align with business. But I see it like IT is not a different than the business. IT is just another team like HR working with the business. So first CIO has to look from the overall perspective how the company is envisaging the future in terms of growth, in terms of expansions. So we have to align our strategy as per the business 3 to 5 years goal. So same thing we also did in our current organization. So when we started, we did the 3-year roadmap, working closely with the business excellent head, understanding what the business overall roadmap. So for us, it was expansion. For someone, it can be improving the customer experience or the employee experience. So we have to start thinking in that perspective first. Then we have to see what initiatives we can do which can reach out to the end customer, which is for IT is nothing but the employee. So that employee experience has to be improved, whatever initiative we are putting as a IT. And so generally what happens, most of the initiatives which comes is generally top-down approach. We discuss in the boardroom and then cascade that to the end employee. So we have to start thinking from the perspective that keeping employee as a central point in the strategy because they are our customer. So if you want to improve, let's say, the overall efficiency of the organization, it can improve only if employee will adopt the solution which we are implementing. So that is very important. Another aspect is keeping the strong governance with two lenses. One is the lenses in terms of how our KPIs are moving with this initiative in terms of the business goals, whether it's expansion of the business, whether it's in terms of improving the customer experience. Second is the employee part, the productivity angle. So if we are putting some software, let's say from the ERP side, so if end productivity is not improving, if the quality is not improving, so there is no direct impact that will create. So these are the, I think, is the important aspects which we take into considerations while planning for any strategy or the initiatives within the organizations.
That's very well said. Thank you. So essentially aligning the business strategy with whatever IT initiatives we are taking, ensuring that employees remain center point for all the initiatives, and finally tracking with a strong governance in terms of what kind of productivity improvements we are getting out of those initiatives.
You sum it very well. Yeah.
Very well said. Thank you, sir. Mr. Syed, so in what ways can technologies like AI, automation, analytics be leveraged to personalize the employee experience?
Yeah.
How can we play a role there?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thanks for the question. That's a really great question. And I would like to introduce myself, this Syed K. Rahman. I've been working in this industry for the past 21 years and mainly started my career with the service industries, but now into this logistics provider where we are doing in-house development, right? So it becomes more important for us how we can drive our customer success as well as you rightly pointed out, right? The employees needs to be very inclined towards what they are delivering, right? So in that terms, it's very important that what they are doing, even if the latest technology, AI, automation, whatever they are doing, they need to understand what is the big goal they want to achieve. The customers should know about it and the employees should know about it. That's one. The end goal should be very clear. The end vision should be very clear. And that should be a shared goal. That's one of the things that needs to be communicated to the employees so that they can achieve it. The second thing is that it needs to be beneficial, right? So the benefits of it is very clear, right? So wherever we are doing, so let's say AI, right? So AI, when we started this journey, it all started with the AI training. So how we can have AI enablement in the employees. They should understand what is AI, what are the ethical considerations they need to do, what are the in which scenarios they can use it, and what are the tools. So it started with Copilot rollout. So every employee in our organization is having Copilot. We took multiple sessions to make them engage, how they can engage Copilot into their everyday life, right? And how we can, not only that, we didn't stop there, how the developers can bring Copilot and use Copilot. So we also given licenses to of GitHub Copilot to our developers so that they can also use it. And we are tracking it via metrics, right? Because how they are using it, what kind of challenges they are facing. So Microsoft is coming to like a daily session, I mean, not a daily kind of session, but it is like every 15 days we are having the session so that they can really use it. When it comes to RPA, automation and all, we had a target that our employees, I mean, the employees who are doing operations, right, their work should improvise. Their work should improve, and they should focus really on solving the problems, right, rather than doing some routine core. So that was the motive, and then we worked towards the motive, and hence the employees were not very, the employees were receptive about it, because at times when you do automation, people tend to retract from it, right? Why you are doing automation. So it should be very clear why we are doing automation and what are the benefits of it. So whatever latest technology we are bringing in, we are driving it with communication, we are tracking it with KPIs, and the employees are adopting it.
That's very useful to hear. By the way, just a quick survey. How many of your enterprises are doing some initiatives to adopt AI for any part of the business process? Just a quick raise of hand.
So
right.
many.
And how many of you have successfully completed the initiative to see some business benefits as of now? Quite a few hands. That's really encouraging. So whatever you said, you can see large majority of organizations have already initiated some steps towards adopting AI, towards improving the experience of the employee, improving the business process, and they are at different stages of evolution. Many of the roadblocks are being seen by them. One of the roadblocks is typically security of data, security of the process. The moment you expose everything to AI, how can you still ensure that the information is secure, right? So that leads me to the next question. What steps can CIOs typically take to ensure that they build scalable but secure architecture for the future, while giving a very agile user experience for the employees at the same time?
Correct. So that's also an excellent question, because so if we are exposing something, let's say AI, right, we are bringing AI, there are always consideration that how our data needs to be governed, right? So the data governance structure should be very clear, right? We need to have a proper data governance structure in place. Not only data governance, but also we need to have some ethical considerations, right? So what are the ethical guidelines? What are the ethical considerations, as well as legal considerations? Because most of the time, I mean, unintentionally, people do something which can bring loss to the business or loss to the credibility of the enterprises. So that is also very important, that the people should understand what are the legal complications, how they can share data, how they can use data, what all the considerations are there, how they can get rid of biases, because normally in AI models there are biases. Now you come to security, right? Security is very, very important, because in that case, we need to understand what kind of data we need to, or access we need to give it, right? So it has to have a very transparent policy, but at the same time, it should be zero trust, right? So you have to have a zero trust policy, right? And then you bring in role-based access control, RBAC, right? RBAC is very, very important, because you can't, I mean, you have to give the roles certain accesses. You can't give everything to everybody, right? So, and then when we talk about scalability, right? So scalability, you can't do the scalability all around when you are in-house. So you have to have a hybrid kind of environment, right? I'm not saying that everything should go to cloud, but you should have a hybrid infrastructure so that you can scale at times, right, if it's needed. So it needs to be secure, it needs to be scalable infrastructure, and then the guidelines should be there around. It should be very properly communicated, documented, and it should be there so that it can be, your solutions can be integrated.
Very pertinent, and this is what we see across large number of our customers. They will typically have a hybrid situation.
Correct.
They will have some applications developed in-house, some hosted, bought from outside, hosted in-house.
Correct.
And nowadays, many of the applications hosted on the cloud.
Yeah.
Now, in such kind of a hybrid situation, how do you ensure scalability at the same time ensuring zero trust kind of architecture, role-based access control, right? So the individual applications that are available will offer these, but the moment you connect them together, now it opens another set of challenges for the CIS to tackle, right? Thank you for sharing that perspective. Now, when we work on HR-led initiatives, how can CIO and CHRO collaborate more effectively to drive the outcomes for the employees, both in terms of people-centric technologies, and also to ensure that they get some kind of a measurable ROI from what they were intending to achieve from the initiatives? Would you want to take it?
Yeah, of course, I can take it. As I said, right, if the CHROs has a big role now in this digital transformation, because employees are our internal customers. We always focus, we tend to lose focus on our internal customers because the internal buy-in of the employees are very important in any digital adoption. If your employees retract and your employees don't respond in the way they should, it becomes very difficult to have any digital transformation. So CHROs plays a big role there, so that they communicate to the employee. And communication, I'm emphasizing on communication because the communication becomes very important. Why we are doing it, the why part, and what we are doing it, what we are doing. These two should be very clear. Now, how part, of course, I mean, the how is technical, so you can't tell everything to the employees, but there should be some communication around how we are doing it, whether we are doing it in phases or whatever. So once it is rolled out, you need to have certain mechanism to hear from your employees. You need to hear from your customers, you need to hear from your employees. So feedback is very important. You need to have feedback in place, feedback mechanism in place, and I think some of the previous speakers, keynote speakers also talk about it, right? So the feedback is a very important mechanism, and the second thing is, which is there is the KPIs. So you need to have a dashboard, very transparent dashboard, that how we are going in this journey. Are we failing? And if we are failing, what can we do to recover from it? The agile mindsets. So the agility in place should be there. It should not be like you have a transformation, and you are not learning from it. So you have to learn and adopt and adapt, right? So agility in place, growth mindset is very important in the employees. That becomes key, and that's what we are also focusing. So we have a agile COE which focuses especially on this, right? So how can the employees be more agile in their ways of working, right? So agile mindset and other things.
That's very useful as well.
Just want to add one point. I completely agree with him. So the handshake between CHRO and CIO as a department has to be there. So what we have did in our multi-year digital transformation program also, we made the CHRO heading the change management team. So he was the person who was handling all the organization transformation management. So the moment we'll put CHRO also into the game, the actual magic start happening. So then the seriousness of the tool or whatever we are implementing, so people start taking it seriously, and that's where after all the adoption gets increased.
That's very useful. So the moment we have the business leaders taking charge of their initiatives, They are the ones who drive it internally in the organization. And like you said, the agile mindset is useful because you
Yes.
don't want to wait for a very long running cycle to
Adapt.
make course corrections. We should be able to trap any kind of course corrections much early in the cycle, improvise our approach to ensure a successful adoption of all such initiatives.
And just one thing I forgot, because there was one focus also in not only the developers or to bring in citizen developers. So we also focused on how we can bring in low-code, no-code kind of thing. Power Platform plays a big role in that. So we had almost 200 sessions for the employees, okay, at various phases, most of the employees, so that the employees understand how they can use it and they can effectively improve their ways of working. So the citizen development becomes very important, that people adopt these and improve their ways of working, right? So we have now close to 2,000 plus these applications, power apps in our managed environment. So citizen development is also very key, right? So the people adopting, improving their own ways of working.
Democratizing the
Yes,
self-empowerment.
democratize.
Part of that. Very insightful. Now, how do you typically measure the success of, let's say, these initiatives in terms of how the employee engagement increased, the productivity increased, or the outcome of that initiative was achieved at the end of it in your organization?
Yeah, so there are two ways we are measuring it. One is at the strategic level. Second one is that operational level. So I give the example. So recently we have started Mission 100 RPA initiative in our organization and build multiple bots. So the idea was to improve obviously the productivity of the employee, at the same time to see at the strategic level, are we going to achieve what we have expected at the start or not? So that measurement is important. Then second is we are also measuring not only the downtime of the system or the SLA kind of things, but how we are moving further in terms of either, let's say, reducing hire to retire cycle with the solution which we are implementing, or how value add it is giving. So in our HRMS, the HR dashboards, we are seeing the retention of the employee rate, then the onboarding rates. So those are the KPIs which we are measuring, especially from the HR sides, to see either we are doing the right investment in right direction or not. If we are doing the investment, it's giving us a ROI or not. So these are pretty much very much, I would say, is the system driven. So we have built the dashboards which give us those insights, and that is being shared with all the relevant stakeholders and being discussed and improvised as we move on.
Beautifully said. So essentially setting the KPIs for the business, for each business process that you're trying to cover. Like for recruiting, you talk about what is the time to hire to retire life cycle visualization, or in performance, how fast you are completing the goal setting, completing the appraisals and so on. Then you need some kind of analytics tools in your HR applications to be able to visualize it, grant access to those tools to the employees who need to see those at department level, at HR head level, and then monitor it with a strong governance, right? So very useful, and these principles apply to all the organizations. Thank you to both of you for sharing your insights from your organization, and I'm sure we can learn from those for future projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the audience on any of these areas? No? Okay. So while every organization would want to run their initiatives in their own way, they will rely on certain tools, technologies. The tools and technologies should empower them by having the right features that are required to realize these vision. So for example, the last question was answered in terms of setting the KPIs and being able to analyze it using standard analytics. Now, does your application have those features or not? We spoke about AI. Does your application have technologies to connect to a hybrid kind of architecture in the new agentic AI world? So these are some of the advancements you will typically expect from your technologies, and the vendors will need to then respond to it. And that's where we come into play from Darwinbox for the HCM technology, but I'm sure you will be dealing with many other applications in different processes. So thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for the panel session. And can we have a huge round of applause for all of them?